ma ni police station if kana observe mina ni the 1 to 3 and a principal family because they know my behavior or no. We know you can never do that. They told me we tell one someone 1 hour 30 minutes not believe, but at the end of the day they did not believe her. Then they sentenced me to life sentence.
At the heat of the moment, there are a lot of things which people do at the heat of the moment, and at the later stage when you are asked why did you do that, some people will even tell you that I don't even know.
Whenever you feel like you're not heard, for me the first thing that I do is to increase the volume, and increasing the volume is not always a clarity of expressing your emotions.
You are always busy here at home. You don't have time for us.
I have a deadline 1 p.m. I need to submit.
Yes, man. 1 p.m. yeah, Nisbusiso.
You're disturbing me.
If it's not your laptop, your work, my phone calls owayenza la ngaphandle. Hayisuka man Sibusiso ngikhathele, ngidiniwe.
This entire lockdown uloku istaff, ngibangela istaff. How many times must I tell you not to touch my phone? It's my phone, it's not a family phone.
Yazini Sibusiso, I am tired. I'm tired, Sibusiso.
Let's give each other a chance to talk. Let's listen to each other. Maybe you might find that you are responding to something that you don't understand.
While we are busy fighting the pandemic, the coronavirus, but there's a second pandemic in this country, which is gender-based violence. That is barbaric, and we say to all men who abuse women and children, it must just come to an end.
It's not easy for a man to ask for help.
We don't seek help where we really need help.
When you have a need, seek out for help. Don't cry inside. Don't stay inside.
Even our kids, we should address them with respect.
The insult, o clean mo mapola maoto, shift maoto mo tapa kwena. Ke clean mo. That's what you want. So taking instruction from a woman, things will just flip overnight. Today you're submissive. The following day, una authority over me. It won't work.
They drink too much. They're beating the woman. They kick the woman, and that's not right what they're doing.
Because when you scream, you agitate another person's emotion, and yours is already you are already emotionally high. So that is fine.
Having great men who are able to mentor people who could be going through challenges.
Men to Men coming to you live every Thursday. We seek to create a bridge where we can be able to commune with each other and also giving hope to our children and to our young boys. So that's very much important for you to know that, you know what, there is a tribe behind me. I'm not just fighting for myself, but I'm fighting for the tribe that is behind me.
Yeah, wow. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm saying ladies and gentlemen because it's important for us to know tonight that we are on a subject that is going to really require gents and ladies. So please pardon me to say ladies and gentlemen. In fact, don't pardon me. That's why I say ladies and gentlemen, because we're talking about gender equity and women empowerment, and we will not do that alone without bringing also the ladies on board. And we just want to say to you guys, thank you so very much for tuning in to the conversation Men to Men. We welcome you all, and we trust that you are doing fine. And we just want to take this time once more to appreciate you all for your contribution. When we say it is the conversation Men to Men, we're talking about men are talking, and we really appreciate that men are really talking, and we appreciate you guys for that. Keep talking, and let's keep talking, because we're not just talking in vain, but we are engaging on issues that becomes very sensitive and very important to us. And while doing so, I trust that we're getting a lot of clarity, and we are also empowered to understand ourselves, to understand females, to understand also issues that brings us, or relationships, so that through the understanding and the knowledge that we have, we are able to deal with issues of patriarchy, issues of gender-based violence, issues of all those respect issues. Then we're able to deal with that all. But tonight, I have the honor also of not being alone, but with my co-host, and that is Mr. Tendo Masite. Welcome to the conversation, and good evening.
Thank you. Greetings, Pastor, and greetings to the viewers. Thank you once more for tuning in. And to those who have contributed and to those who are yet to contribute, we thank you so much. Today, Pastor, is the battlefield of ladies and gentlemen on gender equity. It's going to be late today. It's going to be
fun. And of course, you see us putting on these colorful shirts because it's spring season, and we thank God. You know, even amidst COVID-19 seasons, they never change. It's spring, and we welcome everybody in this spring season. We're trusting that something great is springing forth as we journey into this spring season. There is a story in the book of Judges, chapter number 4. And this story is a story of a lady judge. Her name is Deborah. You know, Israel had done evil before God, and they were subjected to their enemies for almost 20 years. And then Deborah then was the judge. She was one sitting and judging different disputes and cases of Israel. And she stood up by the leadings of God and said to Barak, you better rise up and have about 10,000 men and go to battle with Sisera, who was a captain of the army of their enemies. And you know, when she said that, Barak said, unless you go with me, I'm not going. Mind you, she's a lady. Because I must be honest with you, ladies have been there in position of leadership, even as commanders of armies. And of course, we know of Queen of Sheba. I'm talking about even before Christ. We've seen ladies in positions of power and leadership. And Deborah is just one of them as a judge and as a prophet who led Israel and led them to fight their enemies, to where men will say, Deborah, if you're not going with us, we are not going. And when they went to battle, guess what? She even said, okay, I'll go with you, but I want you to know that the glory will not come to you because your arch enemy will not be in your hands. And guess what? The Sisera, who was the arch enemy and the commander of the armies of their enemies, was not killed by Barak or was not killed by a man, but he was killed by a woman. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say, gentlemen, it is true when we talk of gender equity, when we talk of women empowerment, it is not a new phenomenon. And it is something that we have to get to understand. And of course, in the context of South Africa, we understand where we come from, we understand the impact of apartheid, and we understand that's why we talk of BEE. BEE was also to redress the injustices of the past. And guess what? Also, women empowerment, I think, as South Africans, is something that we have to embrace. And I'm glad because men are talking, ladies are talking. And Bratendo, we want to hit the ground running, eh?
Yes.
You have had an opportunity of hearing men and men having to say this and that, and that was very good. And thank you guys for a good work that you have done. We just want to take this time straight away, and our technical team, you indicate to us as long as you are ready so that we can start now rolling with all those insights that men have given, or those inputs and those views that men have given us. Thank you so very much. Let us watch, and while watching, let's listen. While listening, let us allow this thing to communicate something into our hearts and in our minds. And I must say, humbly so, please, gentlemen, let us allow ourselves to be teachable. Let us allow ourselves to be soft, and ladies also, let us allow ourselves to be teachable and to be soft so that we are able as a nation to move to a better future, to a better tomorrow. Because when we deal with issues of gender-based violence and trying to put off fires, meanwhile there are woods that are kindled underneath, then we are not going to succeed. But it is subjects and topics like this that really needs us to sober up and to face and to deal with. And of course, we have our professionals. Dr. Mukwena is with us even tonight, and he's going to clear a lot of things. And my technical team is ready. Guys, we can go on.
Engineering.
I'm glad you're using the word equity and not equality, because in most cases we talk about equality, but then the problem with equality is that we tend to give people the same things, but whereas the people are not the same. So when we talk of equity, then we are talking about people given that which they need. For instance, if okay, let me use an example from the Bible. In Matthew 25, we find Christ talking about 3 men who were given 3 different gifts. The Bible says then they were given according to their ability. So according to their needs. What is interesting is the one who was given 2 talents came back with 4. And the one who was given 5 came back with 10. But their reward was the same, because each one of them has done exactly what they were capable of doing. So when we talk of equity, we need to look at that. Unfortunately, you find that in our work environment, in our communities, we tend to think that when we give women jobs, we have empowered them, without giving them the knowledge and the skill that will make them to stand even in the absence of the empowerer. So you have not empowered women when you give them jobs. In most cases, we even give them jobs and then we take away the power that goes with the job or the authority that goes with the job. When we are, because we know we have not given them the knowledge and the skill to be able to function in that environment. So we need to first look at what is the environment, what does it demand? Is this lady, is this woman, is this sister having the ability that the job would demand? Then we give her the ability, the knowledge, the skill, then we put her in a position, we support her. In some cases, we give them higher positions because we want to prove that because they are women they won't do it. So we give them the positions, we withdraw the support, as we normally do when it's a men's club. So we need to move, or we need to shift to a point where we understand that it's not about the gender, but it's about the person. And then we look at the person and what the person is capable of doing. Then we enhance that, we nurture that ability which is already there. We support them. One of the good things is, and I don't hide this, those who were friends on social media, especially Facebook, they know. I report to the woman and I respect her first as a human being before I respect her as a manager. So we need to understand that that is what empowerment is. Give the people what they need. That is equity. Give them the support that they need because they are human beings and they need the support, not because they are women or because they are men. So in most cases, we make that mistake of giving people equal. Okay, I normally give this example. As I close, I tend to talk too much. But here's a simple example. You are a parent. You come home, you have got 4 kids. The one child loves mangoes, the other loves bananas, the other one loves apples, the other one loves oranges. But these 4 things, their prices are not the same. So and then we said, okay, for me to have treated them fairly and equally, and then I go and buy bananas because apples are more expensive than bananas. And then I come home, I give them all bananas. Then the 3 take their bananas and they give to their younger brother. Because they don't want bananas, they want apples. And I did not buy apples because they are more expensive than bananas. In my thinking is that if I spend 2 rand more on the one child, then I love the child more than the other. That is not the issue. The issue is not the price, but the issue is, am I giving them that which they need? If he needs a banana, give him a banana. If the other one needs an apple, give the apple. So that is the way when it comes to equity. We give people that which they need. And then we need to empower people by giving them that which will make them to stand in the absence of the empower. So if you are in a position of empowering people, but they cannot stand in your absence, then you have not yet empowered the people. You might have given them positions. You might have given them a chair next to you, and you think you have empowered them. The day you are going to move and then they remain standing in your absence, then they are empowered.
Because men have grown up with this mentality that they are superior to to women. And that, in a way, can also influence or lead to gender-based violence because they do not have respect for women. They treat them naturally as inferior objects. So that which you do not hold important, you are bound to treat in any way. So if there is equity between men and women, that could lead to men respecting women more.
You are nothing. No, we mustn't do that. Give the support to your wife because even the Bible says she's the helper. She's there to help you, to help me, to help the whole family. Umita ka budget ka high, umita ka grocery, umita ka loka moka, and then le bophelo bo ba very much easy. So I encourage all men to support their wives. Develop your wife. Take your wife to school. Let her be, achieve, Number 2, there are ladies who are leading at work, should I find myself being led by a lady who's qualified to do that? I must report to her with that respect, honoring her, supporting her, because I know that if we are doing that, we are making our company to grow better, to expand, and the people will copy from us. Or le basadi ba khona leader. Basadi re tla bona ba gore ba khona leader, he re na re supportive to them. Are re being supportive, re admit, re dumele hore that position we feel like modimo. So we need to support them. That's the thing that I can say, good people. Rena banna ka moka ka hore re na le problem ya hore mosadi ha leader at work re ko re mona le mosadi a re bona ka gona selo, but I want you to remove that concept.
Ra to fambana fedzi nga dzimbeu uri ni mufumakadzi ni munna mara fedzi zwihululo nda ri pfesana zori va funa uri va takulelwe nṱha kharali zwo fanela.
Men were head of the family, but at the same time we are also called to support our wives at all costs. If my wife, for instance, just to give an example, she's holding a leadership position at work, the truth of the matter is that she's not only benefiting alone, but it benefits the entire family. So there's no reason why I shouldn't support her. Like, just to give an example, we're running a business, and my wife is taking the leadership position in the business. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I'm there to nurture her, to support her, to, even to pray for her, and to be there for her at all times. So, to me, it doesn't really make sense for a man to have problems, because if you have a problem with your wife taking the leadership, or in case of her, having a position at the workplace, even at home, surely it means there must be something wrong with the man.
So as a man, I do support gender equity, particularly when it comes to empowerment.
According to our tradition, man is the head of the family. And then according to us in this generation, we believe in women most of the time.
Basadi ba le problem. A shalela a le mo mmereko a create a position ya godimo. Somewhere somehow o feel gore no a fitla ka gae still o no shumsha the same position ka gae.
It's a threat to most of the men, because we've been raised up knowing that we are above the women. So when it comes to issues whereby we have to report certain things to our wives, we feel that we are demeaning ourselves.
If your woman doesn't know how much you earn as a husband, you have failed. That's one thing you should know. Because why do you have to do that? She has to know what you can afford and what you can't afford. Then the expectations becomes realistic. But if she doesn't know how much you earn as a husband, she will make unnecessary demands, and then you start fighting unnecessarily. So be transparent as partners. Actually, as a husband and wife, you are partners, so you have to be transparent. You have to know what is it that she wants. If she's not happy about something, she should be in a position to say, I'm not happy with 1, 2, 3. And as a man, you have to understand that if you were wrong, you have to apologize. Sometimes even if you're not wrong, just apologize so that you can have peace at home. On the other day, maybe you can raise it to say, that day when I apologized, I didn't understand it properly, but I didn't want us to quarrel. Can we resolve this matter amicably? So then you talk about it in a nice way, and then you won't have a problem.
Men should embrace the empowerment of women because it brings relief.
We must not feel lower when we are not, maybe when our women are empowered and it seems like women are higher than us in position.
Re le banna mehleng re le bona re swanetse re dire meshomo ye mentsi ka ga re thushane le basadi ba rena ka gae go apeya go tlhatswa ke tshedintse le gore re a di hloka mehleng ye re le bona because ha re sa phela mehleng yela ya nako ya pele.
The men, most of the women are busy and they are promoted into high position in better companies, and at home women are supporting and they are more responsible than men at home. We find the men are very, very reckless, men are very, very careless, but the women are always making sure that they support their children at home and they make sure that their children are educated. They take them to better schools. Most of the women are single, but look, their children are now attending better schools.
I think women need to be empowered when it comes to gender equality, because most men, they think they are more superior than women, of which is incorrect. I can give you an example from one of my friends. One of my friends, the wife was sick and was hospitalized. When she was hospitalized, the other friend asked, who is going to cook or wash for the kids? So the other friend said, it's me. So he started to laugh at him. Then we asked, what's wrong? The guy said, you're not supposed to do it. Your wife should be the one doing everything. So how we were brought, it's more important, because the way we were brought play a huge role when you get married. Like you will start to learn a lot of things when you grow up, because when we were growing, our parents, when we look at our parents, we were learning a lot. They taught us like men should be hard, a man must treat a woman on a hard way. So hence the other friend was not expecting the other friend to wash and cook for the kids while the wife was not there. So I think that plays a huge role when we tackle the issue of gender equity. Women are so important. They need to be empowered as well. So we need to change from the previous attitude that we start to value women. We protect them, we bring them up, we empower them in business or even at home. For a man to cook, it's not a problem. You need to cook as a man, because a woman can cook for you, can wash for you. You can also do as she does. There's no one who's more superior than the other.
The manager sometimes we undermine the position jabona, the decision ba di chiang, le the instruction je ba fan jona. Re sa khono ko re ba undermine ka baka la roba ke basadi. And of which re tlo lemoga ka morago ge re ba thoma go thatafatsa thupa gore ke bona ba eta pele.
I think the moment we stop dehumanizing women and see them as fellow human beings with giftings and abilities, we shall be on the path of realizing. Thank you so very much. We really appreciate, gentlemen, you've been talking. I think a lot has been said. Very powerful, and we really appreciate that. And I love what one of the gentlemen said, that it's gender equity, not gender equality. And I think a lot of light is being cast to us all, because my take it with a conversation. We must be able to learn from each other. And also we must be able to unlearn some of the things. So we relearn. That's very, very much important. We in the fourth industrial revolution, we're still male and female, but how we do things changes, you know. How we relate changes, and we must be able to adapt. Very, very much important. Like one who said that the wife was pregnant, and they asked now, and the other guy said, "Now who's going to cook?" And the guy said, "I have to cook." And he said, "No, your wife should be cooking." That's madness. I must be honest. Some of the things, it's not even culture. We must face it. It's not even culture. It's just being unreasonable. How do you not see your partner as somebody who need help when they need help? I mean, some of the things are not right, guys. Some of the things are totally wrong. In fact, when we talk of love, you know, you do things not because, you know, I have to, but you do it because you love the person. You want to help your partner. You want to help your family. You know, it reminds me of an old man who lost his wife. You know what he said? He said, because if I marry another woman, she may not get along with my children because they are not her biological children. That old man sacrificed the pleasure and the joy of remarrying and lived and raised up his children without marrying. And I heard this from the daughters. You know, let us be that kind of men who are able to take care, who are able to reach out. What am I trying to say? This battle of gender, and also, you know, I love what one said, and maybe it's one of the ladies who said, let's talk about our children. You've got daughters, they go to school, they qualify, and they come back. How would you love them to be treated in the work environment? How would you love them to be looked at? Would you want them to be paid a little bit less, or would you want them not to be given possessions that they deserve, that they qualify for, because they are girls or because they are ladies? You know, what I want done this side, it must also be done the other side. Mr. Masite, we just want to go to the ladies' voice notes. What do you have to say before we do so?
Today I've learned that as a man, when you are reporting to a boss lady, you must support them. You must submit before them, because they are also capable to lead us, to take us somewhere, to take the organization somewhere. Even at home with our wives, there are lots of things that our wives are doing more than us as men. And I feel that we must support them, because it's the right thing to do, Pastor. In fact, I think the main issue of gender equity and women empowerment is not that ladies are not capable. It's just the ego or the pride or you know, the men thing, the wrong men mentality, you know. Because honestly speaking, there are ladies who are capable, there are ladies who are well qualified, who are better qualified, and who are good leaders. Yes. Like there are men who are better qualified and good leaders. Yes. Yes, there are also ladies that are not better qualified, that are pushed into positions of power that are nonsensical. So the same applies to men. You know, people who are not knowledgeable, if you are not equipped for you to rule or to exercise authority in that particular position, you have to be bully. You know, you're covering up for things that, you know, I was shocked. I heard of a head of a department who was to go for an interview, and she said to a journalist, send me the question. They sent the question and said, send me the answers. Then those are people that are not representing people well. And you find them among men. You find them among ladies. But we must not look and zoom into those little things and discredit or blanket everything as if ladies are not capable, men, this. We must be able to judge each and every case according to its merit. Yes, but not talking too much, because that's not for me and you. Yes. This platform is the conversation. Yeah, we said because it's gender equity, women empowerment, let us bring ladies. And we just want to bring ladies now and hear what ladies have to say. And ladies, it's your time now to tell us what you have in your kit. And that's exactly what I'm going to be allowing you to do. And we appreciate you. And guys, if somehow you feel they are trading on your accounts, please, just be smart and get it, and let's really get exactly what is happening. Let's hear what the ladies have to say.
Women are capable. There are occasions where we see women who do not qualify given opportunities by their mates or relatives because they want to use
Then I found my wife with another man. All right, please pardon us for that. And there's been a technical challenge, and we are sorting it straight away. Let's get them ladies talking, and please, guys, just leave it like that, and let's get it rolling. Mr. Masita will be representing.
Women are capable. Women can be great leaders. Women are equally capable as men to hold higher positions in the working environment. Hence, they should be treated equally in social, economic, and all aspects in their society, not being discriminated on the basis of their gender. Women should enjoy same opportunities, rights, and obligations in all spheres of life. In the same line, only those who are qualified should be given those opportunities. There are occasions where we see women who do not qualify given opportunities by their mates or relatives because they want to use them to do their dirty games or they want to benefit something out of them. Lastly, just to encourage us as women, let's equip ourselves. Let's gain that necessary training. Let's study. Let's read, and read. It is possible that we can reach greater heights as women. And when we do so, let's be humble. Let's do our job in a right manner. And when we are sitting in those higher positions, let's not relax. Let's continue learning and also respect people that are reporting under us.
It is a fact that men are naturally stronger in certain muscular activities than women, and the same goes for women being stronger in other areas like multitasking and ability to be able to carry emotional burdens more than men. However, when it comes to social and economical opportunities, be it in leadership, business, corporate, work should be given by merits and not based on gender preferences. If a person has talent, meet the necessary requirements and show passion for the business or the job, then they should get that job or business regardless of whether they are a man or a woman. Therefore, passion with necessary knowledge and skills should be the driver and not the gender. Thank you.
My views on women empowerment within communities. I think women make better bosses or managers because women are better communicators, and communication leads to a strong build on trust. Women are better community builders. Women have strong business ethics. They acknowledge and consider the right of others in pursuit of fairness. Women are patient, and in business you must be patient, real patient, to make it. Women are better at activating passion, and passion builds loyalty.
My understanding of gender equity is that men and women must be given equal opportunities in the society. For example, in the past, there were jobs that were not allowed to be done by women, regardless of whether they are capable of doing such jobs or not. And also women were not allowed to be in position of power. But then with gender equity, my understanding is that such things shouldn't be happening. Women must be given same opportunities as men, as long as they are capable and qualified to do such jobs.
When we talk about gender equity, we talk about affording equal opportunities to both men and women, not looking at their gender, meaning that they are being afforded opportunities to emancipate themselves in finances, in education, socially, in any aspect of life. It doesn't matter what their gender is. And as we look into women empowerment, historically in our country, women were not given the same opportunities as men. There were things that women were restricted to doing as compared to men. And now we are trying to level the playing field, meaning that there should be a process of transformation. And that transformation can only happen when women are given the tools or the resources to achieve those things that men were previously ahead of us with. Men were at advantage of those things. So when we empower women, we give them the opportunities to showcase their skills, to showcase their capabilities, to showcase that they can do anything that a man can do.
Great. Ladies are talking, and I must tell you, there are still more ladies talking. And thank you very much, ladies, for talking. We really appreciate that, because this is the conversation, and it's when we talk like this where we are able to equip each other and help each other and clarify each other. Let's hear more ladies talking.
Hi, I support gender equity 100%. Gone are those days where men were regarded as superior to women. I believe that if a woman is qualified and competent enough to assume a leadership role, that woman should not be discriminated against. They should be afforded the opportunity to assume that role and be given the platform to prove themselves. This will also motivate our young girls and women to do better, knowing that they have equal opportunities in employment like men.
More of my views on gender equity and women empowerment. I believe that parents need to understand that the most significant investment they will ever make is to invest in their children's education, more especially girl children. Because when you educate a young woman, she's highly likely to become an independent woman who will reinvest in her children's education, siblings, extended family, and help to build her community. An uneducated woman, on the other hand, is highly likely to be dependent on a man, taken advantage of, abused, and exploited. Simone de Beauvoir, a French feminist, once said, "One is not born, but rather becomes a woman," meaning the subservient role and responsibilities that women occupy in society were created by men. Gone are the days when our grandmothers used to be very proud of the fact that they got married to educated and successful men. Young women need to be emboldened and empowered to take up their space in the society. They need to raise their voices and to fight for their rights in the boardrooms and indeed bedrooms, churches, schools, health facilities, universities, government departments, various workplaces, and the community. When we have powerful women, we have a powerful nation. My views on gender equity and women empowerment are that women's empowerment is critical for achieving gender equality and economic growth. Men and women should be treated equally in social, economic, and all other aspects of society. They should not be discriminated against on the basis of their gender. Gender equity is one of the rights listed in the Bill of Rights in our Constitution here in South Africa. As a sociologist, I believe socialization processes and indeed conversations within our families should seek to re-educate young men and women on the importance of gender equity. It starts within the family. Our socialization processes and the discussions that we have with young people in our families need to change if we are to change our society and the way men view women in society.
In my view, gender equity is about the fact that women should be regarded to be equal to men, hence the word equity. But then when we talk about woman empowerment, we mean empowering women as opposed to the current situation where men are more empowered in terms of in the employment areas or all powerful positions. I think that's how I understand it.
Basically, mina my view ka gender equality. As gender equality, it is all about the processes, fairness between women and men. It was brought because of our apartheid era, because you'll remember or our females or women were disadvantaged because of their gender, and they are the operating level ya bona ka whatever job they are doing, babasati na babanuna ya ringana. That is why ile swinga leader ka this issue ya gender equality. Lo mo swi langtisa looking at your workplace also, kuna babasati kuna babanuna and mintirho yo ringana. Looking also at my work, na maphorisa ya xisati ya vavanuna in all departments ikhale ami kuma ku hi tirha ku fana but a hi treatiwi ku fana. There was no fairness between a woman and a man. So basically gender equality, it's fighting that, and in my view it must be like that. As hi tirha ntirho wo fana, vavanuna they must stop looking down upon us. Mi kuma ku ka swo tala vele loko mo langutisa plans ti ta na vavasati va tlhe va ti implementa in some instances.
Yeah, ladies are talking, and thanks so very much, ladies. And I would love to also appreciate those ladies that become referrals. They are able to bring other ladies. We really appreciate. Ntukulu, I know you're one of them, and Nkatam Simang and Katekwanamina, thank you so very much. And also, of course, Lisi, thank you for continuously contributing in this platform. We really appreciate. And Mandulan, we really appreciate, guys, and Advocate, thank you so very much for contributing, because we need your voices, ladies, and we really appreciate you for availing yourselves. Let's hear the few that are still there. Ladies have been talking. I'm telling you, they almost took our program, but it's good that we listen to them, we hear what they have to say, so that we are continuously leading. You know, the conversation gives us an opportunity as men to lead, to be able, because leadership is informed by how informed you are. You are as good as your leadership acumen. You'll be as best as the knowledge that you have. So it's very much important for us as men, as leaders of our own families, to be equipped and to get to understand. Let's hear what these few, I think it's about 6 ladies, have to say. Thank you.
With the issue of gender equality, I think it's good to be treated equal. What I've learned during my school days is that most women are very intelligent and most men feel inferior about that. So I think it's about time men allow women to come up with their views, be it at home or at work. By so doing, we can go far. As the saying says, that if a woman is given something, she will make it big. If you give her a house, she'll give you a home. If you give her groceries, she'll give you a meal. She just multiplies and enlarges what is given to her. Thank you.
Gender equity and women empowerment, it's very much crucial at work, especially when you have support from your male seniors. If they're supporting your development in terms of taking you by the hand at work, especially in a male-dominated environment, and also taking you through the relevant training and courses for you to be able to make proper decisions and to also move the performance to a much higher level. In a male-dominated environment, women are sometimes looked at as the weakest, and also as people who always tend to cry when they have to make difficult decisions. But in most cases, women are the one who are bold enough to take a step and to make decisions that men are afraid to take at work. So we urge all the men out there who are in leadership position to take women by the hand, support them, and they shouldn't be intimidated by them. Because when you have a woman in your team, you have a best player and you have somebody who can take your team to a much higher level. Thank you.
I feel that equity and women empowerment is very good at the workplace in order to create a balance in the working environment. However, I've seen most men who have to submit to a woman at the workplace feel their hegemony and their natural superiority as being challenged as men, to an extent that they carry this negative energy, anger, and hatred towards their female superior, especially where you find that these men believe that he was supposed to be in that position. You know, they will carry this hatred to such an extent that for them to submit to this woman is very difficult. More so where you find that even that the woman who is in the position is even a younger person, is very difficult for them. I think women empowerment is very good. Men just have to draw a line between being leaders at home, being the head of their families, and having to submit to their female superiors at work.
As a woman, I believe the gender equities that we have in the country are good when you look at the objective of why we have such policies in place. The only problem that we have is that most of the time, if is the other gender in a position to appoint a woman in a position of power, because for some reason they still wish or still want to show that women cannot make it, they always will not look for a capable woman to put in place, but they always look for a woman who will confirm their fears. And in most cases, when a woman who has not been empowered take position because of their inferiority, because of their lack of competence, they tend to resort to intimidation to prove a point of authority. And that's what I have observed that leads to men saying women cannot make it. Men leading to a situation where men are saying women use power, use intimidation to prove a point. But we have situations where we have a woman who is at the helm of an institution and doing very well. Because women bring along an element of motherhood even when they lead institutions. And we've seen such institutions and even countries doing very well. Even during this COVID-19 pandemic, we were told there is a country which I will not mention with a woman president in power. And we were told the numbers of people who contracted the virus were very slim because the woman came in with the motherly love came in with the motherly skill and led the country and make sure that they are able to overcome this pandemic. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. Let's have the last two ladies, and we're going to hear our professional Dr. Jabu Mokoena wrapping it up and bringing light to all what we have been sharing. Let's hear.
Hello. My take on gender equity and women empowerment. So if you look at gender as the characteristics that differentiate between men and women with regard to masculinity and femininity. Masculinity being those characteristics that are innate and prominent in men, such as focusing on self, power, and strength. And femininity being those that are prominent in women, such as caring, being collaborative, intuitive, and nurturing. So both these characteristics are important in a thriving society, which means that we need both masculine and feminine characteristics in terms of gender. And then on the other hand, when we look at equity, we're saying that equity is about being fair and impartial, treating people with in a manner, in a way that they deserve or they need. So if we talk about gender equity, it means that we need to treat both genders, feminine and masculine, in a fair manner, in a way that creates an enabling environment for them to be the best that they could be, whether at home or in the workplace. So when we talk women empowerment, what we're actually saying, we are acknowledging that previously women were not treated fairly. Society was engineered in such a way that feminine characteristics were inferior to that of the opposite gender. Now, women were not supposed to be heard. So women empowerment challenges both men and women to acknowledge, accept, and embrace the power that women have within them, and to create opportunities for them to unleash that which is magnificent that they were born with. So in essence, when we say gender equity and women empowerment, we are not saying that we want to be like men. We are saying treat us fairly as women and allow us to flourish by helping and in creating opportunities that will help us to live the best expression of our lives as we contribute meaningfully to society and live our God-designed purpose. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dr. Hlamalani Ngwenya. Everyone talks about empowerment, but I would like to challenge everyone to think and go beyond and further. I advocate for what I call emancipation. There is a huge difference between the two. Empowerment, it's about the power that it's given to someone and is an external thing that comes from someone. So you are given the power, you are given the space, and you are given the license to do something. But that does not guarantee your ability to actually utilize that power, that space, and the license. On the other hand, when I talk about emancipation, it is something that comes from within. It is about your ability to utilize that space, your ability to use that license, and your ability to use the power that is given to you. So when we talk about enriching people and supporting people, let us go beyond just giving them the power, but let us work with them and support them and build their skills and build their capacities so that they are able to utilize that space that is given to them. And for me, that is what emancipation is all about. Just taking our country as an example, South Africa has the most empowering policies in the world. We compete with some best countries out there, but having those liberated or empowering policies does not necessarily result in, a different status quo, because a lot of people are not emancipated enough to actually utilize those policies to their benefit. Therefore, I advocate for emancipation. Thank you.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much. I think a lot has been said, and Dr. Tlame also, thank you so very much. And our sister, the sociologist, thank you so very much for bringing also your expertise in this platform. We really appreciate. And gentlemen, I trust that we gleaned quite a lot of good information. And where you felt a little bit your cons being tread on, men, that's the conversation. In the conversation, somebody will say something that does not really land well with me, but that is important. Did you know that it's not everything that is good that is taste good? Most of the medicine, most especially with African medicine, it does not taste good. Most of it is bitter. But that's why even herbs, some herbs are bitter. But what is important is for us to engage in the conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, before we wrap up, please, let's take this time and afford our professional, that is the psychologist, Dr. Jabu Mokoena. Doc, it's your time to now come in and really guide us through as you have heard us, you have heard our views, you have heard both sides, males, females, and we trust that you are going to be able to give us direction. Thank you so very much, and we appreciate you for being available always when we need you. Thank you, Doc.
Good evening once more. It's good again to have touch with you. I like this conversation because we are all contributing into the same pot. Let me just make a disclaimer on the issues that we are talking about. It's true, I'm a psychologist. I'm giving inputs on issues. Please don't, if I said a statement and you take it out of context and from there you accuse your partner because of one statement that was taken out of context. So these are just comments to make us think about issues and reflect on them so that we improve on our lives and relationships. And also, I want to appreciate all the contributors to this conversation. For example, Dr. Hlamalani, Dr. Mbetse, and others, which really I'm also learning in the process. So it's not a one-way thing, but it's a two-way process. Now, today we are dealing with issues of equity. We are dealing with issues of empowerment, which are burning issues in our country, burning issues in our families, burning issues in our communities. I appreciate the fact that, for example, Dr. Hlamalani spoke about emancipation, which is quite profound and very, very important. Now, I'm going to dwell into more of the process in terms of how we feel, how we deal with issues of empowerment as men. Now, I want to build on what Dr. Hlamalani mentioned on emancipation. And now I want to reflect on our own emancipation. The question is, are we as men emancipated? And if I am emancipated, I'm able to also reach out to others and set them free. Now, let me give an example. If a woman has been given a higher post than a man, and I'm reporting to a woman, I've learned something when I was working for Department of Health. One gentleman mentioned this, that it is very important to respect the office. And it's something that we tend to miss. I could be having a friend and is occupying an office, and I make mistake of trying to relate with them as a friend while they're in that office. So what is important is to respect the office that the person is. I've worked with ladies who were occupying high positions of CEOs, and I've noticed that they were doing very well. They would give good direction on certain issues, and therefore we need to respect them. I've also worked with them like at the university level, profs who are very good in certain aspects. Therefore, it's very important to respect them, respect the office that they are occupying. Now, the other aspect which is very important, I'm just throwing it. It's a rhetorical comment. The comment is, let's say as a man, you are married, you raise children, and among them there are girls. You take them to universities to become the best, and they qualify, and they have to go in the job market or also going for business. How would you want them to be treated? Your own children, how would you want them to be treated? So the same way in which you want your children to be treated, I think even our partners and those who are in leadership positions need to be respected too. Now you could be asking again, why? Or let me come to issues of families. In families, we have what we call values. We could have values in communities, could have values, around where we are living, but you also have values for your families. What kind of values do you have in your own family? As a man, where do you want to see your family to go? Where do you want your wife to go educationally, spiritually, and also in other areas of functioning? So that is very important, because if you have values in your family and in your relationship with your partner, that will also help you in dealing with issues of equity, issues of empowerment. Because generally, there is some form of discontentment, some form of uneasiness among most men if a woman is elevated to a higher post, or if they are doing well. Now, taking the scenario of an organization, if you are the CEO, you oversee, different departments, and I assume that in those departments there are those people who are very good in certain aspects. Are you going to feel bad that they are good in those aspects, or uplift them, encourage them in those aspects? So similarly, even in a home situation, it's true I'm a man, I'm responsible for many things in the family, but if my wife is excelling in another aspect, I should be able to encourage her. I should be able to be comfortable with her succeeding in that area. I will give a personal example where, going back to values, I'll give an example where in my family situation, there was a situation where I had to, my wife would have to work a bit far from where I was working, and it affected the system a little bit. But we're looking that we had to make a decision, because we're looking at the consequence after some time. And I remember as we were discussing about that, we made a decision. There was a lot of criticism around it, about the decision that we made. But because we had values and we had plans, we saw ourselves 5 years, 10 years beyond that situation. So we made the decision. And I'm thankful that, you know, in few years' time, things worked in our favor, and we're still together, you know. And what happens is that at the end of the day, despite the criticism, I and her and the children are together and are benefiting from the decision that we've made that was uncomfortable. Now, there's another issue that I know men seem to be a bit uncomfortable with, and that is the issue of risk. I'll call it a risk. A risk in a sense that I'm educating this woman, I'm doing my best to make her the best. What if she leaves me? Or I've seen in the past they have left their husband after they made it in life. I call it an element of risk because in life involves risk. You have to take your children to school. You have to take your children to university. How many children went to the university and disappointed the parents? Or maybe due to other factors did not make it. So does it mean that if you have other children, you will not take them to university? Or even that one who did not maybe make it at university or in another aspect of life, are you going to, because of that experience, disregard supporting them? So I believe that we need to have it in our heart, have it in our minds to allow or to give permission. And permission is not only vocal, but there's also permission psychologically. Because even those who are making it, at times you find that people criticizing them, thinking that they're making it because they had favors and so on and so forth. But I believe most that I've interacted with them professionally, different spheres of life, they were competent, they earned whatever that they have achieved. So we need to allow ourselves to appreciate them and to also permit them. Permission is also psychological in a sense that you allow it in your heart, not only saying it, but allow it. Well, of course, there could be areas of concern, areas of, of maybe a level of apprehension or some anxiety. We were talking about communication. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss about, the issues that I'm concerned about. And in conclusion, I want to bring the aspect of some form of a balance in that if, let's say, I'm a female, I am having a high position at work, there's a concern that, it seems as if when you come back to the house, then you'll still be the boss. There's that conflict. So I think there's a need for balance, that, okay, I'm elevated, I'm doing well, and how do we deal with it in a home situation? I think it's important to negotiate and find a way of dealing with this, because it's up to you, man and wife in the family, to make this happen. Some men, even in these days, will expect a woman to cook for you, to clean the dishes, to wash clothes. How do you deal with that in the current era? Is it possible to assist? Is it possible to reach out, to assist with other things that would make your life easy. Because I'm talking about the system that has a man, a wife, and children. So we need to have a balance as well. And even as us as ladies, let's engage in conversation with our men around these issues. And I believe, the more we talk about this, the more we reflect on this, and the better the outcome. Therefore, let's allow women psychologically permission. I think that is very, 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 very critical. Not just saying it, but appreciate even when they are doing well. I saw another clip, a few days back, where a woman, it's a lady, it's a pastor, and the gentleman was not a pastor. But he would say, I'm supporting her in the ministry, in whatever that she's doing. I'm supporting her. So the more we reach out for each other, the better the relationship will be. And I believe even the issues around violence will also be diminished, because my role as a man, it's far bigger than only providing. Just your presence at home, the advice that you give, the direction that you give for the family, the permission that you give to everyone, the environment that you create for growth. Those are very, very critical in your life and the life of people around you. So I thank you for the time that I was afforded, and enjoy your evening. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Doc, and happy belated birthday to you. Thank you so very much. We really appreciate your contribution and you giving us direction. We really, really appreciate you. And I just want to take this time once more and say to all men, thank you so very much, guys. Ladies, thank you so very much for being with us. And of course, we took an extra about 15 minutes, and you know why. We have been talking, and I must be honest, that is my joy to hear us as men, as women, talking, getting involved in the conversation so that we are able to equip each other in the process. I said last time that it is in this platform where I learned a lot of things, and I start fixing a lot of things even in my personal life. And I must say, to be honest, it's true that, and we as men do not deny the fact that there are great women leaders. There are great women in big positions that are doing extremely well. We do not deny that. And even myself as a pastor, for your information, let me tell you today that in 2012, after having given my wife the opportunity to study, the opportunity to learn, and having taken her through the processes and in the ministry, 2012, I handed over the ministry to her as our senior pastor. She's the senior pastor of the church. When I met Mana Tabaneka, I'm not a pastor, I'm just sitting back there. And then she also, just this year, I'm referring to this year, 2020, February, she ordained about 7 pastors, ladies and gents involved. And these are the pastors that you see even on this platform sharing the word. So we as men do not really dispute and deny the leadership of ladies. And that is why all your comments, gentlemen, were very, very much important. And it is also important for us. Dr. Mukwena said something very, very critical. We must be able to honor the position that the person holds. It's like when we politic here in South Africa, sometimes we rubbish even the president, forgetting that that is an office. If I rubbish the office of the president, guess what? If I want to be the president, if I become the president the next day, what am I expecting from people? What am I expecting? Because that is a position that must be honored, that must be respected. Even as a pastor, you know what? That is an office that must be honored and that must be respected. You can deal with me as Strike, but don't deal with me as Pastor Strike and pull me down, because that is an office, and let's learn to honor the office, the CEO, the head of department, those are offices that people are occupying. Yes, I may mess up even as a pastor, but don't say, yeah, pastors are just, no, that is an office and this is a person. So I'm trying to say, gentlemen, thank you so very much for your contribution. Ladies, thank you so very much for your contribution. And before we wrap up and close tonight, I'd love to take this time and give it to Tendo. Tendo, what do you have to say after all this, what gents have said, ladies have said, and of course what our own Dr. Mokoena has shared with us this evening?
Thank you, Pastor. We've learned a lot today. The ladies are saying we must draw a line. You might be a man who's leading at your house, and then when you go to your workplace, you must be able to differentiate. You must be able to submit under a woman and support her. Don't treat her like your wife because she's your boss. Submit to her. And thank you very much to all the contributors. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Mbete. Thank you, Braron, for your contributions on comments. And Pastor, I think we are really going somewhere with this program and we are learning a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much. And of course, Pastor Mate, also thank you so very much for your contribution. It's really, really valuable. And of course, our contributors like Dr. Manasseh, he has been hectic and very busy, but thank you very much, Doc. We really appreciate your contribution, and all the pastors that are also coming to this platform. We really appreciate you coming in and also giving your views, like Pastor Eric. Thank you so very much. We really appreciate. And I would love to say, one thing that is important also. I'm looking at, the issue of forgiveness. As people, we're going to really do something against somebody. Sometimes knowingly or deliberately, and sometimes not deliberately. Now, that is why forgiveness becomes very much important. And I would love for us this week to look at forgiveness. How easy it is for us as gents to forgive. I would love for us to look at that. Because why I'm saying this, it's very much important because some people, they bottle things, some they are sick, some they wipe their whole families. And it was just a little thing. Forgiveness, being able to forgive. And for me as a Christian also, forgiveness, look, I was destined for destruction. I was doomed for death, but because of forgiveness today, I am called a pastor. I've not been just a good person, but it is because of forgiveness. I want us to zoom into forgiveness and look at it in the context of forgiving each other as a husband and wife, and forgiving our children. There's a story that even now paints me of how a child ended up taking their lives because they knew, if daddy come to know about this, I'm done, I'm finished. So it's so dangerous. It can be so destructive that we can even lose our own children. We can even lose lives. So I want us this week, Doc, help us through as we look at the subject of forgiveness. I would love for us to dive. And at the very same time, Tendo, I must say, you are free, gentlemen, to also suggest some of the topics that you'd love for us to deal with. Like we said, we are not a reactionary platform, but we are a platform that seeks to empower, that seeks to allow us to vent, to speak up, to take out things that are locked up in us. Because, just the conversation itself, it brings a lot of healing when you are able to cough out. That is why, gentlemen, I cannot thank you enough for opening up and for talking. We always say men do not talk, but not on the conversation men to men. Men do talk. Thank you so very much, our dear brothers, our dear fathers. We really appreciate you for that. And of course, allow me this evening to take this time, even before we wrap up, to appreciate our technical team. Brothers, thank you so very much. Musa, thank you so very much. And of course, our own Pastor Sbusiso. When he's not before the camera, he's behind the camera and he joins the technical team. Thank you so very much. And of course, our executive producer, Pastor Joelene, she sits back there and she checks everything. Braron, our fellow technical guy, we know even when you are not here, but you are on our case. And please, where we messed up, Muna, is because you are not here. But we did our best. And we just want to say to you all, family, thank you so very much for being with us until now. And this was the conversation man to man with Pastor Strive. And I would just love to say a short prayer for you all. Father, in the name of Jesus of Nazareth, I lift this man these women, these families, these individuals, as we continue, Lord, opening up. Because your word says a brother offended is harder to win than a strong city. We thank you, Lord, that through opening up, through conversing, we are able to open up and we are able to break those chains that holds us back, that limits us from becoming the best that you have meant for us to be. I pray for divine protection upon these your children. I pray for their families. I pray for their jobs. I pray, Lord, for their businesses. In the name of Jesus, during this spring season, let something good spring forth in their lives. And Father, we thank you and we bless you. We know you hear our prayer to answer it in Jesus' mighty name. Amen and amen. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. That was the conversation man to man with Pastor Strike and of course with Tendo Masite. Thank you and a blessed night to you all.